House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called Trump's comments xenophobic and says lawmakers will vote on a formal resolution condemning the president. Joining us now in the studio is Atiba Madyun, the president and founder of the website Party Politics US. First, let's get your reaction to this latest development today with the 4 Congresswomen speaking out about Trump's comments directed at them. Given what has been said back and forth, I mean, where do you see things at the moment?
Well, the president has a bully pulpit and he's using it. And so whatever he says, we keep reacting. I have to actually wonder what would happen if we just were silent, if we just didn't respond. But I think that there are 4 congresswomen today that responded. They had a duty, 1 to themselves, 2 to the country, to respond to the fear and to the hate that we keep continuing to see that comes from the president right now.
How is this playing internationally? We see all the reaction from all corners of the United States, but for outsiders looking in, how are they taking this into consideration?
Well, I have to tell you, from the inside looking out, it's an embarrassment. Talking to friends and talking to people outside the country, I think that a lot of people are seeing the United States, who has once been considered to be this moral voice, or has tried to carry and have the moral high ground. We don't have that anymore. And I think that what we see coming from the president is exactly what he wants, especially as we're going into this 2020 election season, for us to be disruptive. Right now, we're not focusing anymore on what's going on at the border, at least not within our walls. Right now, we're talking about racist tweets. We're not talking about the fact that we still have our women's team just won the World Cup, and on a platform about equal pay. And the president had, I think, what some people think, or I think, was failed efforts this weekend with ICE raids. All of this is taking that off the page, and we're starting to focus on what he's saying in terms of racist tweets. He is what a lot of people have been saying that he is. And it's not just him. This is really a reflection of the country as a whole, whether or not it's white nationalists or whether or not it's other people who are supporting the president. This conversation that we have, it's a needed one in terms of fear versus hope. A lot of people may talk back and hark back on what President Obama, his hope and change, and this belief that yes, we can. And right now, it feels very different. And the only people that can really change that is not the president, it's the people.
And he's not apologizing at all. In fact, he's doubling down on what he said to these women. Little reaction, if any, from members of his own party, his supporters. Any surprise there? You mentioned 2020. I mean, some of these people are going to have to run for their offices again.
Right. I think, what we saw happen in 2018, a lot of people were surprised that Democrats were able to gain some seats. They weren't able to get the United States Senate. I think really what we're seeing with the 2020 election coming up, the Democrats have a great opportunity if they take the opportunity to really talk about us as a country and what we want the country to look like. But the Republican lawmakers, they're going to stay firm, because why not? You feel like you're on a boat, you're on a winning team. The president did win in 2016, and he surprised a lot of people with how he did that. So I think that a lot of these Republican lawmakers, they're hearing what their constituents, people who have voted for the president, who they believe are going to vote for them in 2020, so they're going to stand firm, and they're not going to say what I think behind closed doors that they are saying, that I don't think many of them, or at least some of them, like what they're hearing from the president.
You mentioned his supporters, his voters. What about other voters who may be undecided, or who maybe voted for him before? Is this enough to change the needle in their minds when they go vote in a year from now?
Yeah, often we talk about, from an American standpoint, this whole thing about democracy. A democracy is only strong when people stay engaged. And right now, part of that engagement means debate. It means not necessarily agreeing with everyone, regardless of political parties or communities, et cetera. But the conversation right now that the president is creating, this has been going on for a long time. And if you go back to when the president was running for office, some of his insensitive comments as it related to women, some of the things that happened after he was elected to office, as it relates to what happened in Charlottesville. This is not new. The questions, I think, now is that a lot of people are frustrated in the direction that they see the country going in. So those independent voters, those undecided voters, Democrats, if they want to win back the White House, if they want to win back the House and the Senate, they're going to have to find a message that's going to be unifying for the whole country and not just for their base.
Atiba Madyun, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.